Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. It is not Wednesday night, it's actually Thursday night, but hey, let's turn it on because last night I was not able to turn on the camera for the stream. My son is kind of fighting his bedtime these days. I guess we're going into the toddler stage, and so, you know, when nights are particularly rough like that and we're having some problems putting him to sleep, then you know, I don't do the live show. So that's just the way it's going to be. You know, that's real life. That's how it happens. So we are just going to deal with that. And then when I do have time, like tonight, we are going to try to pick up and do a stream anyway. So I know there may not be people watching or even aware that this is on right now. That's totally fine with me. I am going to just turn on a few things and we'll take it from there. And then we'll get into what I'm painting tonight. I'm expecting this to be a pretty quiet show viewer-wise. I don't expect my live viewers to really be catching this right now, and that's fine. I just want to have this here so that the folks that don't watch live have something that they can turn on while they're doing some painting this week. So anyway, that's enough of that explanation. I can still hear my son awake. So this might be a very short show, but we'll have to see how it goes. Just getting everything set up right now. There we go. Okay. However, if you are watching and you wish to comment, feel free to comment in the YouTube section, or you can comment on Google+, or you can also hit me up on Twitter at PlayItPainted. All right. So I think with that said, we're going to go ahead and move into what we're painting tonight. So we do have a little bit of a treat tonight. The Wrath of Kings Kickstarter actually showed up, and so I am starting my very first Wrath of Kings models, and these are the Pelgarath masks. What are these called? Hold on. See, I don't really know too much about what I'm painting right now, but I went and I backed Wrath of Kings, and don't really know a whole lot about it. I just started to read a little bit from the hardbound last night when I was going to bed, but this is the Nasir faction, and I started with the Nasir, frankly, because I find them to be the least appealing faction to me visually. And so when I have a lot of models to paint, or when I'm diving into a new model line, I will pick, let's say, my least favorite of them. So anyway, Pelgarath blood masks, and you can see here kind of a larger woman, shall we say. And they have these blood masks. And so what I've done so far, and there are a lot of these, by the way, there are 18 of these blood masks all told. When you look at the faction starter, I believe has 12 models, and then you get another 6 in the Kickstarter bonus for the faction models. So here's an example of one of them. I just did some of the airbrushing last night, and I did a little wash to give it that purple look and a little bit of the flesh here. Couple cool things to note here on these models. The bases for Wrath of Kings really are different. They're actually concave. So this whole section here is hollow, as opposed to the bottom of the base. So normally you'd have that, you know, you'd have a concave part on the bottom of the base, like you do on like this. This is like one of the standard 30 mil lipped bases that you might get for, say, Anima Tactics or Helldorado. But yeah, instead of the dip being there, it's actually up top, and that allows you to actually fill in basing on your own. So did some cork basing here and put all these models together. So anyway, what I need to do on these models is I need to start, I need to do a little dry brush on the flesh. So I got to find the appropriate color here. Maybe this medium gray, because they're kind of stone. They're kind of a stone look. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to do a little bit of medium gray there. So once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. If you're painting, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Again, these are the Wrath of Kings Pelgarath Blood Mask models. And so I'm going to brush in here. Now, I'm not much of a dry brusher, but I have been using it a little bit more, fast production on Infinity models and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of it here on these models. Whoa, I still have a little too much paint on my dry brush. Because you don't dry brushing, you want really almost no paint is better. But I'm going to give this a quick dry brush just to hit some light spots on the model. There we go. And I've got to do 18 of these. Normally you don't line paint with something like 18 models. It's just not a good idea usually. But hey, I work with volume, so I do a little bit more on my line paints than most people. 18 might be like a line I might do for, say, Zombicide. If I'm painting a bunch of walkers, I might do 18 at once. These chicks are supposed to have kind of a stony look to their flesh. So this medium gray dry brush is actually working out fairly well here. And you don't need to do much to make it, to make this flesh pop. Because, I mean, it's basically already there. What I did with the flesh was I base coated with an airbrush layer of Minotaur Cracked Soil, I believe, or Desolated Beach. Sorry, Desolated Beach, and then I hit it with some aged white as a highlight, and then I washed it with Seraphim Sepia because you want to give it at least some. I like using Seraphim Sepia even though it's kind of a reddish, kind of a ruddy. Well, maybe not so much red, like a honey brown color. But I do that so that you can tell that the model's living. It's not an undead model, or at least it has flesh components to it. So as you can see, the dry brush is going on pretty quick here because you don't really need to do much. You're really just picking out a few bits of light on it. And they have these kind of pasties over the nipples there on these models. Interesting question on these models. I mean, they are mostly nude. Does that make them sexual? I'm wondering. Does that make these models kind of a, our taboos on the scantily clad, the Relic Knight stuff? Are these sexual models? Am I being, am I being, what's the word I'm looking for? Really stereotypical about body type and expectation, or I don't know. I don't even care to venture, I guess. I'm just here to paint these models. I do think that they're cool models. Actually, fairly impressed with these, considering these are my least favorite models pretty much of the whole range, and they were still pretty cool looking. It's not fun to paint 18 models at once, but these models do at least look somewhat cool. So I'm going to do a couple of dry brushes here. This color over the flesh. Then I'm going to do a really, really quick, tight, almost just a line. I'll show you here that I'm doing on the non-metallic. So, anyway, let's talk about Wrath of Kings for a minute here, because since I'm painting these up. Like I said, I didn't back Wrath of Kings with the expectation that I'd be playing it. I really looked at it and said, hey, I'm not a big fan of this theme, but I think some people will like the theme. And given that it's a war game, and it really does look more like a standard fantasy-based war game, maybe I would be able to back this, get the Kickstarter in, paint it more quickly than, say, the rest of the market tends to paint, and then sell it, or maybe not all of it, but enough of it to kind of make my money back and maybe even turn a slight profit on this. And so that was the goal of Wrath of Kings. I'm just being honest here, I really don't have much intention to play it. But it came in and I started to look at the rules and look at the models, and I'm like, you know what, it's worth it. It's at least worth it's hard enough to keep the number of systems going, just the ninja systems, the ones that I actively support, hard enough to keep all of those going. But this game as a kind of I like to look at it as some sort of love child between, say, Helldorado and Warhammer Fantasy. This doesn't look like a bad game. So, let's give it a shot. Let's see. Worse things have happened than I discover yet another game that I like, right? And it looked okay. It still has that same issue that I tend to have with most of these skirmish. This one's not barely as, it's a skirmish that scales up. So I should just say war games. In that, it's basically kind of, you look at a stat, you look at another stat, and you roll a random number generator, and then you apply damage and remove model, right? That's how most of these games are laid out. It's a winning formula, and not too many companies want to stray from that. It's just, it's one of the reasons why I like, Relic Knights as much as I do, is because it does not follow that formula. But this game does. So this game will, have some of the list building aspect to it, but it doesn't seem like it's as much because there's not much customization other than selecting your units. And the way that they design the battles for this game, you do want to, it is designed so that it's a little more, I guess, the guidelines are a little tighter regarding what you're supposed to take at what level of battle. And so, and there's no associated with models. They just, they take up that particular slot. Like, if you get X number of minions, taking a Pelgrath Bloodmask or say an Ashman, they're choices right now if you're playing this year. Okay. Okay, so that's one dry brush. Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. This is kind of an off-schedule additional feed that we're doing here. So I want to welcome you guys to that. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. And tonight we're just doing our thing, man. We're just gonna do our thing. I'm thinking maybe I do this white gray. Yeah. Now this is the an airbrush color though. I don't like to waste airbrush paints on regular painting because airbrush paints are precious to me for some reason. So I don't like to waste them if I don't have to. I'm gonna do this instead. I'm gonna do a little game color. So I need to do just a little tight little dry brush. Very tight. So I'm doing a true dry brush, not an overbrush. I usually do overbrushes because overbrushes are a little bit faster in general. But dry brushes, if you do dry brushing right, it's actually not it's not as ugly and crude as you might think it is. And sometimes if you do it just right, your result can actually be pretty good. The other thing I do for dry brushing, if you haven't noticed already, is I'm using makeup brushes. I use these thick, short hair brushes with that are pretty tightly packed here for bristle count. And these are just, these are makeup brushes. I guess I don't know if you use these for eyeshadow or whatever, but you saturate these and then you wipe everything off, and I don't know, the dry brush just seems a little cleaner on this than it does using one of my smaller brushes. So I'm gonna do the white, and when you dry brush, make sure you have literally nothing on here, and then this is where you do your hand, try to get rid of most, if not all, of the paint. You really don't want to be leaving. You shouldn't be able to see. I can make white on my hand like that. You shouldn't be able to do much of that at all. There should be like literally almost nothing on there. All right, this is looking pretty good. It's still a little, just a tad chalky, but let's take care of it. Okay. All right, so you can see here I have on the sword, you can see I just did a little, oh, you can't even really pick it up on camera here, but just did the slightest little gradient on that. And all I'm going to do with this dry brush is I'm just going to very lightly just tap that edge, just like that, right? I might even carry a little bit over, but I don't want to do too much of that because I don't want it to look sloppy. But yeah, see that? Well, no, you can't see that. You can hardly tell. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do a little here on the shield, so you can see what's going on. Still a lot of white paint on this brush. I don't like that. There we go. But that's it. I mean, that's really all I'm going to do. And I'm going to do this 18 times just to give that a little bit of detail here. There we go. And there we have it. Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Tonight's subject are Wrath of Kings Pelgarath Blood Mask models from Cool Mini or not. A lot of folks just getting their Wrath of Kings in, myself included here. I mean, I literally got mine a couple days ago and started to build, and I did not realize exactly how many models you get. The faction starters come with almost 30 models in them, and then you have a bonus of another, say, 20 or so. So you're looking at about 50 models per faction. If you Ancient King pledge or whatever, multiply that by 5 factions, and you've got 250 models to deal with. Which is a significant amount of models, especially for somebody like me who does mostly skirmish games. But we'll make it. We'll get through, right? Especially once you realize that most factions, 36 of the 50 or so models that you get for each faction are really just 2 sculpts. So it's a lot of line painting, but it's just the 2 sculpts. I hate line painting, though. I won't lie. I hate line painting, and I don't find this particular part of Wrath of Kings to be very appealing to me right now. I wanted to be able to paint a skirmish level worth of models and get to playing immediately. And I understand that this game is supposed to scale to a full-scale war game, and that's cool. But, it makes the painting less fun. So take that for what it is, for just, being my opinion. But yeah. So there we go. Okay. So tonight I kind of have a weird topic here. I'm calling it No Pro. And this is just a personal commentary of mine about one of the things I've noticed being part of the public wargaming community, right? So when you're part of the public wargaming community, I'm referring to those of us who put their hobby on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and the goal, one of the goals, not the goal, but one of the goals is to just kind of encourage gaming to happen around you and shed a little light on this hobby and world of ours that some of us anyway are passionate about. So if you're doing that, then yes, I would say you are part of what I consider to be the public wargaming world. And, some people want to say that it's the public wargaming community. I think the word community there gets a little weird, if I'm going to be honest. So I don't like to call it that. I just like to call it the public wargaming arena. Okay, so and when you're in the public wargaming arena, there's usually a reason for it, right? And I just explained one of the reasons that you might be in public wargaming, which is really to just get more awareness around the games and the hobby. And I would say that's one of my motivations, and I might even consider it maybe one of my primary motivations is because I want to advertise or kind of promote the fact that I'm playing games or hosting games or showing them off at shows or whatever. And the reason why I'm doing is because I want people to play these games because I like these games, and I want people to play these games with, and I want and I want those people that I play these games with. It would be cool if they weren't all just gamers from a similar background. Maybe they were fans of other things like sci-fi, like anime, like comics, and they crossed over because it's cool. You can really get a lot of learning or experience and learning from people that are from that kind of approach this fandom from a different side than you, and vice versa. I just think that's really cool, and you're bringing somebody brand new into gaming, and opening up their whole worldview, I guess, to this hobby. That's really awesome, and I love that. And it's one of my goals. But for at least some other people, one of the goals is a little bit a little bit more entrepreneurial than that. Now, I do have an entrepreneurial sub goal with my public wargaming, and that is I want to just have a little bit of recognition, enough recognition so that I can do commission painting and find new clients, and earn just a little bit of money to help pay for, say, babysitting costs or anything like that. It's just, as a new father, you think about the money that you spend on something like hobby, and you don't want to be taking too much away from your family. In fact, you don't want to be taking any away from your family. And if you can earn a little bit to help with something like babysitting or daycare, then using your hobby to do that is pretty cool, right? So that's another possible motivation that you might have, that I have for doing public wargaming. There are some folks whose primary, or at least one of their primary motivation for public wargaming or public wargaming activity is that they actually want to they want a career in the industry, right? They maybe they want to publish games for a living. Maybe they want to be a tabletop gaming journalist, or maybe even just a famous enthusiast that gets paid for having millions of subscribers on YouTube, and maybe people want to be like the PewDiePie of tabletop wargaming. I don't know. But there's people like that want to, they're trying to break into the industry. They want to be able to make their living off of this hobby. And so I call that going pro, right? And that's going to be the topic that I'm going to ramble on about tonight, is this idea of going pro, and my personal stance on it, where I see myself, and and so it's gonna, some of that discussion may bleed into what I have planned for the channel. So it is not necessarily, this discussion is not necessarily about, say, monetizing your channel or setting up a Patreon to pay for specific things for your channel. This is about trying to really make, going pro to me is more about, really trying to make this your 9-to-5 job, your primary source of income. And I know some people that are trying to do that. And for the record, I want to say that I'm not against that. I'm not against people pursuing their dreams, and going after something that they're very passionate about, and that they could see themselves doing this, something like this, for their whole lives. And who doesn't want to do something that they really love for a living? Well, I'll explain why I don't in a minute. But yeah, that's our discussion. We're talking about going pro, meaning going for a true bona fide career in either tabletop gaming, miniature wargaming, or tabletop game design, right? So anything gaming that's not so much video gaming. We're talking specifically tabletop. So yeah, game creator, game designer, studio painter, professional podcaster, or tabletop gaming press, if there is such a thing. I don't think our medium or a hobby even really has a big enough following to make tabletop gaming a very lucrative thing. Although some people are trying to do that right now, and they're trying to kind of secure their spot as tabletop gaming press. And what comes to mind immediately is like something like Beasts of War, right? Because Beasts of War, they're probably the closest that we have to being a professional tabletop news or media type of outlet. And there are big channels out there, but I don't think they cover quite the in-depth gamut of topics as, say, Beasts of War does. So anyway, now that I've spent all this time framing what our discussion is actually about and what it curtails, let's just get into it. So let me finish this real quick. See, it's part of the downside to having a live show where you're actually trying to work on models, is you're looking for a natural breakpoint from your discussion. I figured, let me just frame the discussion, and then let's see where we lie here. I'm going to go ahead and load some YouTube comments. See if we have any YouTube comments. If anybody, no, nobody has shown up. And once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. If you are tuning in and watching, let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. I'm going to take a quick sip of, take a bite of this cookie, because cookie. Damn, I'm going to take a sip of soda. And I'll show you where we're at. Pretty good. Pretty good. That is a good cookie. Okay. So now, one of the main things still left to paint. There's really 3 items left to paint on these models. The mask itself being the main one. And then I've got the little pasties and the thong, right? Pasties, thong, and mask. And that's pretty much going to be it. The rest of the model is done. So, onto the blood mask. I'm going to use this Carmine Red as the base coat for the blood mask. And I need to get my paintbrushes out to do this. So I'm going to need this guy. Where's my little detail brush here? I might need the detail brush. Probably not, though. All right. So let me get started with this, and then we're going to continue or actually dive into this discussion that I have framed for tonight. Once again, topic is going pro. In other words, the intent of doing public wargaming activities with the intent of turning this into your primary source of income. Now, I know people that are trying different ways to do this. Some people are trying to develop games, and that's cool. Some people are maybe trying to paint professionally. Some people are trying to develop their media outlets, whether that be, say, a YouTube channel or a podcast or something like that. And then there's this other group of people that I can't even really tell what their plan is. They just want to be famous. I don't even know. I mean, they might be doing a few different things. But yeah, they might be doing a few different things, but it's very hard to tell what they're actually trying to do, other than you can tell that they're trying to be famous. So, okay. Now, for me, I don't want to judge somebody to do that, because once again, this is a passion. This is my passion. For some of the folks that are quote unquote going pro, this is their passion. And who am I to say, oh yeah, don't pursue your dreams. Don't do something you absolutely love to do, right? That's stupid. What kind of jerk would ever tell somebody that? So that's not it. And, even the people that want to do something that I don't quite fathom, like I was saying, like being a part of tabletop gaming media. I don't understand that. Like, there are lots of guys, you're watching a channel right now about tabletop gaming, and lots of guys out there that have media, podcasts, websites, all that stuff devoted to tabletop media. And some of them, not some of them, a lot of them are like, hey, if I could do this for money, why not? And I'll say this, if I could do this and still enjoy out of stability and the same level of income that I currently make at my career, not a job, a career, then I would shoot. The title of this video would be "Try to Go Pro," right? In my case, I don't see that happening. But there are guys out there that really are, that did the math, and they're like, well, I'm okay with that. Whatever these guys make for a living, I'm okay with that. I'm not one of those guys. But yeah, I don't fault those guys that are. And that's fine. What I would say, though, is I have seen some folks. Wow, how do I even get into this while painting fine detail in? There are some folks that want to be part of media, tabletop media, that I can't help knowing what I know about them. I can't help but question their grounding in the hobby. Should it really matter? It does to me. And, maybe that makes me a dick. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm just going to explain where I'm coming from. Okay, so, if I'm going to look at something like, I'll just keep using Beasts of War because I got no beef with Beasts of War. And I like their channel. If I'm going to use something like, if I'm going to look at Beasts of War for content, if I want to look at an article on a game that I'm interested in, or, I want to watch an instructional video by Beasts of War, or coverage of an event by Beasts of War, it is important to me as the consumer to feel comfortable in Beasts of War's understanding of the subject matter at a minimum. And as a desirable, it would also be cool to know that these guys are doing this because they love the gaming and the hobby on the same level that I do, that they share it, that we share a passion, right? So if Beasts of War and I share a passion for tabletop gaming, cool. I'm all down for that. Make your money. I'm even a product that I believe in and that, I want to support, then you'll make some of that money for me. Same goes for a manufacturer. If you're making a game and I like your game and I can see it, that's great. If you make a great product, I don't care if you're a gamer or not. Actually, that's a little bit different because you make a great product. I don't have to deal with you after I hand you money. You have a good product and I can enjoy it. Cool. If you're a commission painter, and I would never use commission painting, but if I were going to use commission painting, and you did great work painting, then it doesn't matter if you are, so passionate about the hobby. Maybe you're, maybe your primary talent is something like, maybe you do all those crazy little patterns that they do on women's nails, nail polish, and that kind of stuff. Sorry, it's not just women. Some guys do that too. But yeah, maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's your primary interest, but you can paint the shit out of a miniature, and I'd be glad to pay you for that because you do such a quality work, whatever, right? The one exception is literally if you were trying to be some sort of media or news outlet for gaming, or some repository for public gaming. Because if you're gonna be the media person for gaming, it is important for me to see that you have some vested interest or some true interest in the games and the hobby itself. That is important to me, because we are interfacing with you. We're not. Your product isn't something that you package and I pay for on Kickstarter and then I start to paint up and play. If you're a media person or you're trying to be a media person in gaming, your product, to me, is the quality and integrity of your information. And if you don't love gaming and you're going to talk to me or somebody else that really loves gaming on subjects about gaming, it's just going to come off disingenuous. And it's also, it may also not be accurate. And I've run into this many times in the past where, either it's a large YouTube channel, a large or a well-known quote unquote gaming personality that I'm may just come off to me as maybe a little insincere about how much they enjoy this hobby. And maybe it's more about gaining attention or charity so that you can try to levy that into personal gain of some sort. I do take exception to that, and that bothers me more than it actually should, if I'm being totally honest. And I'm seeing more and more people heading that way. Some of which, a few of which they state outright that that's what they're trying to do. And when they do, that's cool. And I'm like, hey, I believe that this person is passionate about what they're doing. They love the subject matter. When I read or hear or see something, content that they're going to put up, I have full faith that that they're researching it or dispensing information with the care and respect that I feel the subject deserves, and also in a manner that is respectful to us, to a hardcore gaming audience, right? Anyway, so I see these people going pro, and some of them are really cool. Like, I'll give you some examples. Like, for example, El Atomico, just a guy that joined our SoCal tabletop group, over a year ago or whatever. And he was just a kind of an up and coming sculptor, and he loved to sculpt. And his first sculpts, were pretty raw. They could use a little more. They could use a little more experience behind the hand sculpting them. But what was cool was, like, this guy did Kickstarters knowing he wasn't really making any money. In fact, he's losing money. He just wants the experience of doing Kickstarters. And this guy was so passionate about learning how to sculpt and getting better at his trade that I had to support him, because that's what I want. That's, an industry as small as tabletop gaming, it would behoove us to have people back there, doing the sculpts or writing the rules that are just as passionate as we are, right? Because this really is a DIY fan-driven community. On the other hand, I know some people that might be considered kind of the face of tabletop gaming, miniature wargaming. They might be a media presence that people recognize and with this hobby, and they're ubiquitous, right? They seem to be everywhere, or at least everywhere where there is a lot of coverage and a lot of hype. And so you have those folks, and it's not a problem. It's just when you're there in person and when you're talking to them about gaming, you can tell that they don't really care about what they're talking about, or they don't even know what they're talking about. And sometimes you don't know what you're talking about. Sometimes, with a subject as diverse as gaming, there's just going to be subjects that you're not going to be equipped to handle. Perfect example. One of you guys hops on the comment section and says, "Hey, Octave, why don't you tell me about Wild West Exodus?" I'm going to throw my hands up. I don't know. I don't know anything about Wild West Exodus. I know who made it. I know it was a Kickstarter. I could tell you very, very basic stuff like that. But I have no impressions of it. And if you were to ask me my impressions of it, I would only be able to give you the most cursory, "Hey, I saw it on the internet twice" type of answer. And I would hopefully qualify it that way, because I don't want to mislead you guys and tell you, "Oh yeah, I know all games. I know all about this." And really, I don't fucking know anything about it, right? That's what I take exception to. And that's what I'm seeing. This isn't new either. For those of you who know me personally, and we've talked about some stuff privately, you've seen it too. And I guess I bring it up tonight because it's such a, I just keep seeing more and more of it. I keep seeing these people that are just aren't about it. Aren't about it. They don't make a product. They don't make a product. They don't they mostly just regurgitate what's already out and around, with the intent of, basically being a parasite for clicks and for hype, and it shouldn't bother me. It really shouldn't, but it does, and that's, it's therapeutic to be able to talk about this on my quiet little stream. But it does bother me because and one of the reasons why I think it bothers me, and I don't know, maybe I need to actually spend a little more time on introspective and try to figure out why does it really bother me, because maybe I'm not being honest here, but here's where that I see that would just drive me up the wall. You guys might know teaching games, and Robert Allen uses the term being a game evangelist. But for me, teaching games, being an ambassador for such a small, specialized medium as ours is a big deal, because what we tell people on the outside, what the few of us who are, put in front of people on the outside and asked to explain this hobby and what we're doing, what we say is more influential than we might really be conscious of, right? If I stood in front of, a bunch of people at Comic-Con or whatever, and I started to explain, hey, this is tabletop miniature gaming, this is how it works, those folks are going to say, hey, I know nothing about this subject, so I'm going to take what this guy says seriously. Now imagine if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Imagine what kind of misinformation might be spread about our hobby, about our communities. Because you see that in all kinds of niche environments, like, and I'm gonna yes, this is a shitty reference, but think about the BDSM people that feel that 50 Shades of Grey is just not an accurate representation of the BDSM community. And so they take offense to it being portrayed in the mainstream that way. Kind of like, the classic movies like Revenge of the Nerds back in the 80s when it came out, and there were people that were like, hey, nerds aren't that pathetic. We're not all that pathetic, or we're not all that bad, or whatever. So my point is, if you have people that are trying to be a vocal, visible, public mouthpiece or figurehead for our hobby, then I do take a vested interest in knowing that they're passionate about the hobby. And it bothers me when I see things that point me to the notion that these people are genuine, that their motives aren't really there for gaming, that it's about some means of gaining self-importance, or some way to get into a con. I'm gonna just slap these decks of cards in front of people, and you could learn the rules in 30 seconds, and sure, it needs to be done, but I'm gonna keep doing it and pat myself on the back, or something like that. That's what's bothering me. And it bothered me to the point where it's like, and I know that the expression of, hey, if something, you always hate what's closest to you, right? So if something's similar to you, you will hate it. And so I check myself. I check myself, and I've been checking myself more lately, like, because I really don't feel that I should be this bothered by it. I might be wrong. Maybe I should be this bothered by it, but I don't think I should be this bothered by it. So So I've been checking into it, and it's like, okay, well, let's look at our situation here over at Play It Painted, and where do we want to go, right? Because at the onset of this, I said, hey, I don't really want to be professional. I don't want this to be my primary source of income. If I lost my job or something, and sure, yeah, let's try to do that. Let's try to make some money and put it on the table, feed my family, right? That's a different thing. I have a career, and I make good money at my career. It's a stable career, and I want to continue to do it. Gaming, to me, unless somebody took a huge risk and said, hey, we're going to give you the salary that you currently own or you currently earn in your other career to do gaming, hell yeah, I'm on board for that. But even in that case, I'd be a little bit worried about, okay, how stable is this market? How stable is my job? I would still be concerned about that. But that's what we're talking about tonight, going pro, and some of the reasons why we're not going pro or over at Play It Painted. Even though last year it might have seemed like that would be a natural progression for me. Even now, it might seem like it's a natural progression for me because I do a lot of the fun activities that I consider to be fun. A lot of these guys look at and go, oh, well, I have to do that so that I can get in with so-and-so and I can be friends with this person and I can get my name out there and be known. And yes, if you're going pro, you do need to do that. You do need to network. You do need to get your name and your face and your people so that they remember you, so that when you are trying to get this job or that job, that, hey, you've left an impression. I get that. The exception to is the people that are doing that clearly do not care or are not passionate. The people that have proven that they don't paint when they say that they paint, that they don't use the products that they say, that they clamor so hard for sponsorship from. That I take real and serious exception to that, because there's so much talent out there. There's so much talent on the web, and there are so many cool people that I've met on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook that do amazing stuff and amazing work and just selflessly give to them of themselves to the community around them for the betterment of gaming, of tabletop gaming. And those people, in my opinion, should be given sponsorships and those sort of things because they'll do better things with them. If XY gaming company supports, I'm just going to say British Legion or whatever, because British Legion's awesome, or Dreadlun, or one of those really awesome guys that are freaking passionate about what they do. One of those companies, company XY, said, hey, I want to sponsor these guys, and I don't because I trust them, and I think they like my product, and I want to show it to them. Those guys, if they like a product, they'll share that passion with you. They do it anyway. I mean, they're not sponsored by a lot of the stuff that they show, and they share that with you because they feel that those are good products, and you can see them using those products. An example of that would be, say, Dreadlun's video on the tools, the airbrush stuff that he uses, or the paints that he uses. He's done a few videos on that. He's not sponsored by any of those companies, but he's sharing those with you because he feels that they're solid products and they work for him, and he wants to be able to share that knowledge with you, right? That's the kind of person that a sponsor should be looking for. Now, I would be completely naive to say that it shouldn't matter how many subs that a person has to a sponsor, because sponsors obviously are going to want to have high, they're going to want to sponsor people that have high exposure to potential customers. So yes, they would want to have a higher sub channel. The rub becomes when you consider what some of these big sub channels have had to do to get large amounts of subs. Because, and I know this personally from talking with folks, because some folks game the YouTube system for subs. Some folks say, oh, well, if you do this and you tag your videos this way, and you do bits, and you invest in this and this and this, which takes you further and further and further away from the hobby, then you can pump up your sub count. And that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I don't believe in that. I don't agree with that. I can see why they want to do that. Some have even told me, oh, I just like, I need the money from monetization. And I'm like, are you serious? Who the hell makes any real money from YouTube monetization? Conversely, you have some name channels that are big for a reason, because they put out quality content. They put out stuff that people want to watch. An example of that might be, let's say, Warboss Tay, or the Painting Clinic. I always pick on the Painting Clinic because it's one of my favorite channels. Those are larger sub channels in the miniature gaming realm, not the larger YouTube sense. We're all basically just a speck of dust compared to, say, video gaming on YouTube, or any of those other larger viewerships. But yeah, you look at channels like those two, and those guys basically cut their own cloth just by putting out quality content. They've done some promos. They've done some promos. But if you compare what they do on a content basis, as far as what you can walk away with from watching their channel, if you compare that to some of these other, large sub channels, oh, I gotta throw Viv too, because fucking love Viv, man. I will watch his shit. I don't care. I don't care drink beer or running around drunk in plate mail or miniature gaming. I can watch that dude. He's awesome. But yeah, if you look at guys that do that just do what they love and put out quality content, and have rightfully, in my mind, earned a large viewership, and compare that with some of these other larger viewership channels out there that you watch, and it's like, oh my god, all I'm seeing is graphics on the screen, buzzwords, attempts to be funny, and it's like, okay, which one of these people is sincere or passionate about their hobby? And I'm not saying you need to be serious all the time. Fuck that noise. I'm not serious all the time, and I'm like barely even filtered. I'm talking about, and I say this knowing some of these people personally, and knowing how often, or more accurately, how rare it is to see them engaging in gaming, just engaging in gaming on their own, engaging in painting. Do you really love painting? Really? You're sponsored by this company to promote painting, but how much painting do you do? Okay, you're gonna do this public thing about painting, and then when you go watch their public thing about painting, you're like, well, your role was just to kind of stand there and say, yeah, I'm about painting, but other people were actually painting, not you. Or if you're going to say, oh, I'm about promoting gaming, but you don't actually promote gaming. You just sort of regurgitate whatever's big at the moment. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I have to question. I have to question that. And this might just be me being a dick, but I have to question the sincerity of somebody that's not engaging or putting out content about them enjoying the hobby. I just have to. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that comes off dickish or whatever, but I have to talk about it. And I see all this stuff happening around me. And it's like, okay, yes, they're doing this because they want to be pros. They want to be professionals in the industry. And you know what? I don't want to be a professional in the industry. So maybe I'm the one being hypercritical here. But I just don't mean hobby that I love so much. And the idea of bringing some really cool, really awesome people into this hobby. The thought of those new awesome people, collecting information or, otherwise receiving mentorship from folks that aren't sincere or passionate about the hobby, when there's so many people that are, that bugs me. It bothers me. Anyway, if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. This is just an interesting ramble of mine. I'm not going pro. I'm going pro. I'm not interested in making a product with the end goal being money. My commission painting services, I've scoped out. I really have to enjoy painting something before taking on the job, because this is a hobby for me. This is something that I love to do. And teaching people games at conventions or hobby shops and that kind of stuff, that's also a hobby for me. Some people kind of look at it very evil, like, oh, I need store credit, or I need clout with the convention organizers, and they'll just shill whatever. They don't, or they'll just shill whatever is the easiest thing. They'll take resistance so they can minimize the actual amount of work that they're doing and maximize the their ability to attend conventions or gain perks. I think that's shitty, man. I do. I think it's terrible. And yes, okay, there is some good to be made from it, because bottom line, you're getting games in front of people. But just that motivation, I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. And I'm not going to stop anyone from doing that. I'm not going to harass anyone that's doing that. I'm just sharing my opinion on it. Wouldn't it be great if, the people that shared gaming shared it because they have a love of gaming? Now, most volunteers I know are just that. They share the gaming, and they teach gaming because they have an urge to share their love and their passion for the hobby with others. That's awesome. But I've met some folks trying to go pro, trying to get that brand out there that aren't. They're not about that. Or pay whatever lip service to anybody if they think it will push them a little bit further up the ladder. And it's garbage. And it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter, because those are the people that you are eventually going to have as your recognizable person here. And that's just the way, man, our culture works these days. It's not about being the best or the most talented or even the most devoted. Sometimes it's about just being that person who just will just absolutely refuse to step away from the spotlight, to people that won't shut up. And that's going to be the voice of your subset. It's just the way it is. It's not just gaming. It's everything these days. When the general public is introduced to something that they're not very familiar with, it's not as interesting to put the quiet, dedicated, actually passionate person in front of a camera, and they don't even want to be in front of a camera most of the time. But it sure is shit easy to find somebody on an extreme viewpoint, somebody that's going to come off weird or loud or otherwise memorable. Much easier to put them in front of the camera and go, okay, that's what miniature gaming is about. This freaking weirdo, or, this is what gaming is about. This guy that's, all about bro tattoos. I don't know. I'm just talking shit for real, though. But no. So yeah, not going pro. No plans on going pro. I'm gonna enjoy my hobby. And this is the part of the discussion where I'm just going to talk about me, my stance, and where this channel and where I see the Play It Painted brand going. I mean, if you guys haven't been paying attention really to this channel, I haven't made much of a push to do video series as much. Once I finished the Relic Knights intro series, kind of throttled back, and I'm just picking projects that I enjoy doing. My time more than ever, and will continue along that trend. And so I'm having to further and further prioritize how I want to spend my hobby time. Last year, I spent an awful lot of time on promoting the Play It Painted brand. And the reason why I did that is there were a couple main reasons. The two main reasons were because I needed to rebuild recognition with the conventions that I worked. Because I wanted to maintain a presence at those conventions. And I didn't want to say Malifaux only, or with maybe a group of toxic friends or people. I wanted Play It Painted. I wanted Play It Painted to be a separate entity. I wanted it to stand on its own in the cons, and I think I've done that. I think at this point, within the conventions that I want to attend and I want to work, I've got that. Also, did promoting because we wanted to pick up clients for commission painting, and we did. We were successful there too. Our brand is known well enough so that I could go out and pursue commissions if I so choose. And I also have a reasonable stream of them coming downfield to me, but not to the point where I'm feeling overloaded or overworked. So mission accomplished with the, what we wanted to do with self-promotion last year. We got there. Based on our objectives behind promotion. This year, we're not trying to build any super clubs. I'm not trying to launch a new line of sporting good or miniature hobby stuff. So promotion this year is not that important. Not really trying to build a giant club either. So our in-store and our public appearances are mainly stuff that we want to do. I've got a paint day scheduled later this year. I've got a con schedule that we want to do. But that's it. There's no real end goal. I just enjoy doing those things. And that's a weird thing too, because I see people that basically they copy my playbook. They do, okay, if I hit this con, they want to go to that con. If I if I start a Facebook page, they want to start a Facebook page. If I have a this type of account, they want to have that type of account. And it's clear that they just want to be famous, or they want attention, or they want to troll or something. But there's no real cohesive plan there. It's just, here, I want to do this. And it's also clear that they're just not, I don't know, that the motivations, in my opinion, might be a little misaligned. But yeah, so anyway, this year, man, it might be a low-key year for us, and that's a good thing. When I'm doing this stuff, I'm missing my family more and more. I'm missing my son more and more. I hate being at cons for too long, because I want to go home. I want to see my kid. I want to see my wife. I want to run around with the people that are important to me. It's cool. Love the cons. We'll always love the cons. Love the atmosphere. Love the people there. But I got my family at home, and I love my family, and I want to spend as much time with my family as I can. I just have to have this hobby because I'm so passionate about it, and frankly, it'd probably go a little crazy if I didn't have it. So yeah. So the objectives have changed, and our situation has changed. And it's good. It forces me to really get down to brass tacks and focus in on what's important to me. Going pro is not important to me. Having a good career and taking care of my family is way important to me. Having shitty fair weather friends that just try to use you for stuff, not important to me. And I have no qualms about shedding people who only think of taking for themselves and can't give me a shred of respect or decency in return. I just get rid of them. Fuck those people. Seriously, they're bad people. If you have people in your life that are just, give me this, do this for me, please do this for me, I need this, and then when you turn around and say, I need something, and they're going to be dicks about it, oh, no, I'm going to make fun of you. I don't think it's cool. Get those people out of your life immediately, because those kinds of people there are out there, and you don't want those people. And frankly, I had a bunch of those people. I had some really bad apples that were enabling the entitled, shitty, bad apples, and I had to get rid of them. So yeah, just don't do that. I've had to optimize. I can't fucking babysit people anymore. I have my own baby to take care of. And if you're not taking care of your baby, fuck you. Do that. Yeah. So anyway, it was kind of a topic tonight. It's interesting. Just kind of griping and letting it out. Hopefully this has given you guys something, of you that were watching or listening, just something to kind of chew on, regarding the whole trying to be professional in this. Just be careful. Always have your price, have what's important to you on hand. Know what's important to you, because these are just games. This is just a hobby, and you can make it more. But if you're going to make it more, man, I hope that you love it. I hope that you go in with the expectation that, hey, I may not make a dime, but if 3 people play my game, super happy about that. Which one of these days I might actually do, because I think if 3 people would love a game that I invented, that'd be badass. And I don't need a Kickstarter or anything like that. I would just make this and go, here, play this. That would be pretty badass. I'd like to do that. I don't know. Let's put it on my to-do list, I guess. To those people who are trying to go pro and have a product or an end goal in mind, and you put out quality shit, please continue to put out your stuff because you love it. Just do it. I hope you do. I hope you don't get too caught up in this gaming for how to gain subs or how to gain sponsors or kissing people's asses because you feel like you have to know them. I hope you don't get caught up in that, because I can understand why you might, but I just hope I hope that you don't have to do too much of that. And I hope that you don't lose sight of what you really love about this hobby. So, I don't know. All right, so the red's down. I'm going to reload some comments. Thanks for joining us at Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Kind of just letting it hang out tonight, talking about, the prospect of going pro, doing things with the intent of, actually trying to make a career or a living, enjoying the hobby. It's a very cool thing to want. It really is. And I support people that are earnestly trying to make it happen for themselves. Oh, no wonder that I was having such a problem with my tip. I'm using the fucking Reaper Pro. Anyway, I support people that really are trying to do that for themselves. I just bemoan the people who aren't sincere about their passion and that might be here trying to gain favor because they think this is an easier way to get into quote unquote showbiz than doing something else. I think that's super shitty. Well, yeah. Sorry, man. Sometimes the shows are just raw. All right, so now I need to paint in the little pasties and the thong. So I'm going to paint the thong this gray black. That's pretty easy and straightforward. So let's do that. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know, man. I one thing I will say is this YouTube channel. I started this YouTube channel as kind of an accident, and I think I've discussed that a few times on the show before. How the origins of this YouTube channel. And there have been many times where I'm like, maybe I'll just shut down my channel. Because, at some points I'm not having fun with the channel. Or, sometimes it's just YouTube drama and you don't want to get involved in that. And it's like, man, maybe I need to just turn it off. And sometimes I have taken really, it might not have noticed it, but I've taken some breaks on it. And in fact, right now, technically, I'm on a break from YouTube. These weekly streams are just the consequence of me having a camera on while I'm doing what I'm doing during a paint night. I don't really consider it, much content to do this. We're just sitting here painting, or we're doing what I would normally be doing just with a camera on. And some comment, but otherwise it's not that big a deal. If I wanted to, I really liked making videos, I probably would spend a little more time and money upgrading equipment and getting better at editing and production value and all that stuff. It's just, on the hierarchy of hobby-related activities, editing and making things look professional, making my content look professional, just really isn't much. Doesn't hardly even register on the scale there. Even my website and that kind of stuff, it's okay, but I don't know. It's just there. I don't really, not that into, putting together a website. I want to spend time doing the stuff that I'm that into. Mainly playing and painting. And this channel is just, it's almost like you guys are just sort of here for the ride. Not trying to sound like a dick, but I don't really do things specifically because people want me to do things on this channel. I just do them because they're fun, and some people, and you guys, enjoy watching me do them. That said, I wouldn't be opposed, though, if somebody asked me to do something specific on my channel. If I liked it, if I looked at the idea and said, "Oh, that would be fun to do," then absolutely I would do it. I'm not saying like it's a primary motivation for me. There are some channels that are just fan service, like, "Oh, we need you, please click as many likes and subscribes as possible, and I'll do whatever the hell you want me to do," because that's the end goal. The end goal for this channel for me is this is just another outlet for my hobby to manifest. It's not really here for income. It's not even here for e-fame or anything like that. Turning a camera on and rambling incoherently whilst painting thongs on flabby buttocks. That's the stuff. That's what I will be doing tonight. And I will have fun doing it. Yeah. But that's literally what's going on. I'm painting a bunch of thongs on flabby incoherently at a camera. Thong, 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 thong. I knew it was coming. Damn it. Why did I do that? Okay. Yeah. Sorry, folks. So, yeah, the channel is going to kind of remain where it's at. If I feel so inclined to do another series, and I probably will at some point, then I'll do another series. I haven't decided what I would do. If we're gaming here in my house and the person is really cool and wants to film a bat rep with me, and we'll do another live bat. Those didn't go so well, viewer wise, because we didn't schedule them. But who cares? It's cool and they were fun to do. They didn't get a lot of views. Had fun with it. That's the goal. That's the goal. Just have fun with that. Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. If you like, you can message me on Facebook, on Twitter. I should probably turn this Q&A thing on. I am sorry if somebody has been on Q&A. No, nobody's been on Q&A. That's good. Yeah. So that should be painting. Just painting. And we're probably tonight because I'm so close to finishing these. I'm going to try to power through. Just painting thongs. Then I'm going to put a wash on this blood mask. And I'm going to paint those pasties in. And yeah, we're doing all right. Not bad. These are just rank and file troops, so I'm not going to... I don't need to spend a lot of time on them. I'm really looking forward to painting up some Shale Han, though. They got that similar aesthetic to, say, Immortals on for Eldorado. So, and I love that. I love that, you know, ancient style Chinese armor and garb and all that stuff. Being able to play that for this game should be fun. I regret not ordering like the big dragon. That would have been fun. Thong painting. Thong painting. So yeah, there's just so many people that are trying to go pro. And they all kind of know each other, and they're all kind of building, and they're formed. And you know, I just want to be able to go to these shows and run a good show, have people enjoy my event, and then go home. That's what I want. Without having, you know, I don't want to have to deal with, you need to be doing this for me, and you could be more famous if you do this. I don't care. I don't care about that. Another thing I need to share, though, like you guys, is my experiences with a public event that we attended that was really pretty badass, actually. I'm really excited about it. I hope that it goes somewhere. You know, I hope it takes off, because I just see it's cool. So anyways, there's a thing called, I'm doing it again. Oh, no, I'm not. There's a thing called Club Cosplay. Okay? Club Cosplay, which is this kind of new type of community and series of events that puts the cosplay, comic, sci-fi crowd in the bar, nightclub, you know, scene. So it's, you know, it's almost like being, you know, promoter for DJs and specific types of music. So instead of it being genre or something like that, it's really about just cosplay to these events and having social situations, having more regular social situations for people that are really into that. So it's not just, hey, I'm going to Comic-Con and I'm going to WonderCon and I'm going to do some nerd speed dating, and we're going to have a cosplay contest and dance party. We have it this many times a year because that's the con season. This is about doing it a little more regularly and keeping in touch with your local cosplay / sci-fi / fantasy community. That's awesome. So it's like, you know, it's almost like having a little baby WonderCon happen once a month, and local and free. That's a big one. And you can just go and socialize with the people that you share your interest with. Like, that's awesome. And so our role in this is we specifically for gaming. And they were like, hey, you know, we've seen that you guys do some events. You guys have even thrown some events in like the tournament that Corey hosted at the bar So we've done stuff like that in the past, and we're fairly active in the. So we were asked to go and host some gaming down there, and it's the very first time they were holding this event, so attendance was low, but we had a few folks come by and enjoy some Super Dungeon Explorer with us, and I gotta tell you, I loved it. I thought that there's that, and being able to run over a peanut butter stout or a porter in between games was pretty badass, pretty awesome. Just loved it. And also your exposure to the non-traditional gaming crowds. Love it. So anyway, I plan on supporting them a little bit more, trying to do this, trying to go to as many geek meets as possible, the local ones anyway. And we'll see how that goes. I'll just, channel or the stream as appropriate. Once again, live, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Right now I'm painting the last of the thongs on these Wrath blood masks for Wrath of Kings. Just notice there's a giant spot on this model, so I'm going to have to correct that. And how do we correct that, you say? You can this particular color with Iraqi sand. So I'm going to try to just do a little Iraqi sand touch-up. See if I can get it to hide. There we go. Quick and dirty. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look perfect, but these are rank and file troops. They'll get over it. And I got to decide what type of wash I want to do on the red mask. Then I also got to decide if I'm going to be gluing on tufts. Probably should. I should probably glue a tuft into the bases because some look cool. Downside to that is I'm going to need to buy a bunch of tufts for such a high model count game. It's a little bit of downside, not too bad. There we go. And the last thong going down. Going down. The last thong. Now I know some people that watch station. I'm all for if you are, share your info with me. Send me a message like you're starting this miniature company, or you wrote a series of articles on table games. I want to see that stuff, and I'll blast it on my. If I like it, I'll blast it on my Facebook page or in any of the groups that I've created on Facebook or Google, because the overall goal is just to get gaming out there and in front of people, and the more diverse crowd that we see, I think the better overall. Because some people, then you might actually get some development behind other types of tabletop games, and you might create more a larger fandom. Not all war games have to be about war. That was wrong. Hold on. Not all miniature games have to. You can have thwart style miniature games. You could have miniature games. That would be cool to see. And if you could do that without mucking up or interfering with the current crowd, more power, man. That's badass. Like that. That's what I'd want to see. All right, I need to find that Iraqi sand. I can't believe I just did that. I just dumped Iraqi sand back into this mess I call a paint drawer. So I gotta, and then apply it. Where is it? I thought we just had it. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Really? Really? If you're just joining the show, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. What I should be painting is the little pasties on these Pelgarath blood masks. But I put the stupid... can't find it now. How upsetting. And Iraqi sand is one that I use so often. I usually keep an extra bottle of it or two floating around. Just because, you know, in case I run out in the middle of a job, that I'll have a backup. And I can't even find my backups. This is bad news. I guess I could use buff. I guess I'm going to have to. I don't have a choice here unless Iraqi sand magically. Of course it does. The minute I say it can use a different color. Look at that. You lying bastard. Here we go. So now this is going to be quick and dirty. Just got to paint on the little pasties. I think there's a few like markings on the side too that I could be painting. But I gotta be honest, I don't care that I just don't care enough. I want these models to be done so that I can move on to the parts of the range that I really, really enjoy. All right, so I'll fine detail brush. And here we go. That's how quick it's going to go on. 1, 2, done. All right. Part of the issue here is just navigating 18 models. There's a little bit of fear that you might have missed something, you know, 2 steps ago or whatever, when you're line painting this many. That's why I would never really recommend that you line paint this many models at once. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't be like me. You don't have to force your way through everything. You can take your time. Enjoy the painting. I just don't enjoy line painting. I don't enjoy repetitive painting like this. That's why I love skirmish games so much, because if I enjoy the painting, then I consider the game worth my time and worth my money. If I feel like my enjoyment is diminished by the gaming, then I'm hoping the game itself can make up for it. But I already feel like I'm on the back foot if I didn't enjoy painting, or at the very least seeing the all painted force at the end of the painting. You know? So there we go. Okay. Any other updates from me? Well, I'm around the corner, and we're gearing up for WonderCon. We're going to be doing Relic Knights and Super Dungeon Explorer. The team there is going to be myself. We'll have Gareth, we'll have Mark, and we'll have Gabe. So cool team as far as I'm concerned. Looking forward to it. And I had another update, and I'm totally spacing on it right now, but I'll remember. Oh, update. Yeah. I plan on joining the Warboss Tay May painting. I don't know if he's going to do one in July still, but he's now doing one in May. And that's cool because that works out for me. I have at least one convention I want to go to in May. That is Strategicon GameX at the end of the month. And I'll probably be painting some of whatever's left over from Forgotten King when that Kickstarter shows up on my door and I start to paint that furiously, which I'm expecting some of that to take place in April. Therefore, we'll have some painting on Forgotten King. So that should be cool. Yeah, so joining the May painting challenge. Also thought it was cool that, he said, hey, for the questions, just answer whatever universe you're in. Because last year I didn't answer because I look at the questions and go, oh, that's for GW. I'm not going to answer that. So appreciate that, Mr. Warboss Tay. And thank you for watching. Really, on that painting challenge and just for being an all-around pretty cool person. If I ever get out to your area, hang out, game, because I think that would be fun. Maybe you could meet my little kid, my wife and my little kid. I could meet the lady boss. That would be fun. That sound kind of stalkery? Maybe. I don't know. No, Warboss Tay's dope, man. Dope. All right. And that should just about do it for the pasties. There we go. Pasties are done. Let's ink up these blood masks. I'm going to load up comments here real quick on YouTube. There really hasn't been any comments tonight. I know this was not a scheduled stream, so for those of you who are watching, I do appreciate it. But yeah, no comments. It's cool. We're just going on, man. Just going on. All right. So now I have a couple of choices regarding how I want to wash the masks. I could go with a purple wash, which would be kind of cool, but that's not really blood-like. I could also do, the standard strong tone, which I'm heavily leaning towards. In fact, that's what we're going to do. Because, sorry, I know that's not creative or daring or whatever, but looks right. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, I got it. I just want to make sure. Thought I saw a model here that did not have her pasties painted in. What a shame that would be. No pasties. All right. So let's get some water. So I want this blood mask, these blood masks to look a little dirty, a little mucky looking. That's not even a word, is it? Mucky. Nothing's, I guess, murky, but I don't think mucky is really a word, is it? I don't think so. So here we go. Just painting in. So this strong tone would be a rough equivalent to Agrax Earthshade, I guess, if you're in the Citadel line. I didn't like how that beaded. That's okay. It's because I didn't mix the shade well enough with the water. So I just cut it with just a little bit of water. Let's do this. Pretty cool. Pretty cool looking. I'm not going to do too much of a highlight on these masks because I want them to stay mucky looking. And again, these are just the line troops, so I'm not terribly invested in them. It's more about, when you're painting line troops like this, it's more about the overall look you're going to have when you see them all together. And I think overall these look pretty sick already. Like a tribe of large angry women. Think of that line from Princess Bride. Rest well and dream of large women. Yes, I did just quote Princess Bride. What are you going to do? It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Get over yourself. Enjoy it. Some of these just didn't have good coverage with the airbrush on certain areas around the mask. You can fix that. Hit the shield with a little of this to give the shield a little bit of a rugged hint to it, and to also shade the red that's on the shield. It's probably not the worst idea. Because the shields are looking a little clean. And they don't need to look as sharp as the swords, obviously. And I think I can should be able to keep the actual shading intact. Here, let's try it. Yeah, see, that worked out. That's nice. Yeah, I'll come back and hit all the shields with this too. Okay. So now I'm doing mask and shield. And it's just nice. Just gives you another little layer of depth. Further defines the detail on the shield. Pretty cool. Keep it rocking, man. All right. So it is coming up on 11. So we're coming up on 2 hours. But I'm very close. I just need to do a couple things, namely glue a tuft in. I should actually, yeah, it looks like I will have enough. I'm going to glue in some dried grass on these. And then just paint the lip in, and these are done. And they look kind of cool. Wrath of Kings, man. I will probably eventually sell this painted faction set. So if you are interested, let me know. Let me know, and I might list it sooner rather than later, and give you a private heads up to when it's going up. Maybe that will help you in an auction or anything like that. But I'm planning painting the rest of this faction. There's going to be another set of 18 for the Ashmen. So that should be fun. I like it, man. I like it. So it's a pretty basic paint job. But they look kind of cool, I think. And yes, I am sort of cheating with the strong tone. But who cares? It looks cool. It'll be all right. Can even do that if we're so inclined. I'm not going to. I want to thank you guys for continuing to watch this show. And for those of you who, send me a little message, hey, I got this and I finished this project because, I watch your show. Dude, that means so much to me. It really does. It means a lot to me to know that, you guys are getting something out of this. Because I don't want to do it if you're not getting something. I can just as well be there painting this exact same thing in the exact same time, and then listening to music or watching Netflix or something like that. Could be doing that rather than having the camera on. And I'm not saying that having the camera on is a chore or a burden, because it's not. It's fun. I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun. I'm just saying, there is an alternative if I'm not feeling particularly motivated to turn a camera on one night. And some nights I'm not. Some nights, like last night, I can. But yeah, it does mean a lot. So, thank you guys for your comments. You guys want to send me more? It's great. Send me, and they don't have to be positive. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what you want to see on the show. Tell me, give me your perspective on, say, tonight's topic and why I'm full of shit or why I'm being a hypocrite. You can do that. I'd be down for that. But yeah, I also do really like that. This channel's small enough to where I can just put my commentary out there. And I don't represent anyone other than, Ninja Division when I'm running their games. So if you really want to hear it, though, I should have said at the start of the program that my views do not necessarily represent those of Ninja Division or Comic Quest or any of the folks that I am in regular dealings with. So there's your disclaimer. Okay. Yeah, I like the little strong tone as applied on the shield. Pretty cool. Okay. All right. So now, that's basically it for the painting for now. There's one final painting step, but before we do that, let me put away my nice Winsor Newton brushes, because I will not be needing them anymore from here on with these models. And let's do this. So I've got this dried grass tufts here, and we're going to just start putting some of these on wherever they might fit. So for example, here's one right here. Just put a little dab of glue there. Grab a tuft. Shove it in there. Ooh, that's a bad tuft. Here we go. Ooh. Maybe they won't go on all of these. Maybe just a few of them. Maybe none of them. Maybe just this one that already has a bead of glue on it. No. There we go. See? It's a little tuft of grass there. Let's do a few more. Let's do one on, try to do one on each, and if it doesn't happen, I don't care. Not that big a deal. Should be using tweezers to pull these off the, there we go. See, nice. That one looks nice. There we go. Just keep it rocking. Whoa. Settle down, glue. Sometimes my glue's getting a little out of control here. Do that. Once again, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Cool. You know what? Haven't heard from Canvas in a while. Wonder what that dude's up to. Haven't heard from him. Should probably check in. Canvas, if you watch this, shoot me a message. Let me know. Or are you mad at me? Am I not mad at me or the wife? Are we not putting enough photos of you in your filthy habits? Let us know, dude. Okay. There we go. Yeah, they look really nice. Just that little bit of tuft in there does make a nice little difference. Ooh. Didn't mean to do that. That's bad. Oh. My glue is a little out of control. Okay. It's okay. That should dry clear. That should dry clear. Got a little where I didn't want it. All right. These are fun, man. I was pleasantly surprised by the miniature quality of Wrath of Kings. I'm a bit disappointed in the variety of sculpts based on the model count. I mean, each of the faction starters or whatever look like they're somewhere between 10 and 12 unique sculpts. And then of those 10 or 12, 36 of your models are divided between 2 sculpts and probably, I want to say, 5 pose alternates. So they're basically the same sculpts, but they just have different poses, and it just leads to some boring, tedious painting. So whatever. Enough of my whining, right? These are cool. Look at it. Look at this. It's cool. All right. And then up next is going to be the next group of 18. If I have any time this weekend, I'm going to try to get through those. And those are going to be a very simple paint job too. It's mostly a charcoal gray or a black. Did I not paint your pasties? Oh, I did. It's just super hard to tell. Kind of need a white highlight in there. Maybe I'll come back and hit these with the white highlight, because we're going to do a little overtime, folks. So I am going to be on for probably another half hour or so. If you want to comment or anything like that, this is we're at the end of we're at the natural end of tonight's topic, but don't let that dissuade you from putting your 2 cents in because I want to hear it. I think I'd be curious to see where people fall on this. Going pro. Do you guys find it offensive when somebody wants to be in gaming, tabletop gaming, quote unquote media, and you question their actual enjoyment and participation in our hobby? Does it bother you? Am I just being elitist by insinuating that some of these folks aren't? I don't know. What do you think, man? Let us know. Ooh, no good place for a little dab of glue. Probably means I shouldn't put a little tuft in there. What are you saying? Tufts are good though. They're fancy, and we like them. So just shove a tuft in there. Shove it. There we go. See, that one doesn't look great, but it's gonna be, because why not? Because there really was no other good spot for a little dab of glue. Man, I cannot find anything tonight. Where are those tweezers? I have no idea. It's a fun one. Let us know what you think about Wrath of Kings. Did you get it? Did you get the Kickstarter? How important put them together and play them? Because I've heard a few people that are like, yeah, I got the Kickstarter, but I really just don't care to put it together right now. Oh man, that dab of glue is entirely too large for that tuft. I'm going to throw another baby one on there just to help fill some space. Ugh, never mind. This is going to have to dry down and hopefully clear. I'm going to need to buy some more of these tufts if I'm painting more Wrath of Kings. I think I'll do flowers for the Shelhan. More of a spring looking appearance. But this dried grass is for sure is going to be for this year. It just looks right. Kind of ashen, barren background. I may have to pick up another one of these because, we'll see. Should be okay, actually, on material. There's 2 more tufts, and I still have a lot left here to do the rest of the starter. Oh, relax. So as these are drying down, okay, I'm going to come back and give just a little tiny highlight of off-white on the pasties so that the pasties pop a little bit. And then we're good, dude. Good to go. There we go. Okay. And there you have it. Okay. Time to do a little off-white. And I'm going to use, I do need actually one of my better tipped brushes to do this. That's fine. I'll use this number 1 here. I'll do a little off-white action. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. I'll load comments here real quick. See if anybody did pop in to say hi on YouTube, because I do see some viewers. But who knows? Maybe those viewers are like Google spies or something. Hey, there he is. What's up, Octave? How's that sexy wife? You see, I was just asking. I missed you, man. I missed you. She's doing well. She's put the baby to bed. And yeah, doing well. Her birthday is next Friday. So Friday the 13th is my wife's birthday. So we got to get all the nudie male photos of ourselves together so that we can put together a nice birthday card for her. I know, Canvas, you will send her something reasonably offensive. I don't know. Reasonable might be a stretch. Offensive is a given, but reasonable might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll see. It's funny because she's Australian, so she gives you a pass on some of that shit. She's like, he's Australian, so he can be crude. I don't even think it really has to do with being Australian. I mean, some of us are just crude. I can be crude sometimes. Certain situations. Some people, I guess, offers, but whatever, right? I am painting pasties on fat warrior chicks, so maybe that makes me crude. But I will ask, I mean, do you think that the fact that these chicks aren't traditionally attractive differentiates them as what people tend to see as sexualized objects in the miniature range, with all the the much more the more spry looking female models that we have out there? Do you think it makes a difference? Let me know. I'll be honest with you and say I don't look at these as very sexualized, because I don't think that was the intent. Whereas, and that's presumptuous for sure. Whereas, the Relic Knight stuff, they don't make any apologies about trying to put some sexy in the game. Same with Corvus Belli. They make sexy models. Same with Anima Tactics, sexy models. They don't make apologies about it. So what? You can have a problem with it. Well, then that's your problem. Have a problem with it. This one, I don't know. And I don't care, honestly. Someone's like, yeah, look at these big chicks with blood masks and pasties on. That's hot. Well, fine. Hey, it's just... I like to tell all women that I know that there's somewhere out there, no matter what you look like, no matter what type of woman you are, there's a guy that digs you. And digs you and your type and what you're about. You may not dig him back. I think that's more the challenge. There's going to be tea ladies out there. There is going to be a dude that digs you. The real question is, will you dig that guy back? We're just all over the place as far as our ramble, aren't we? Fuck it. It's almost bedtime. And I am getting tired. But these were a little tedious to paint. But 18 models in 2 nights isn't so bad. It'd be nice if I had the gumption or the time to really just knock them out in one night. This is just rank and file, so. All right. Make sure I didn't ruin anything on my brush. Looks like I'm good to go. So I'll put this away. Now I just have to paint the black. So let's get black. And then these are done. That's it, man. That's all there is to it. Let me reload comments here. Who cares if something is sexualized? The modern politically correct world is nothing short of a parody of itself. Bunch of decaf, extra foamy lemon latte sipping douche sprinklers. Douche sprinklers as a compound. That is some talent, sir. I like that. Well played. And yes, I agree. Who cares? Who fucking cares? These are this is bits of plastic, seriously. But I've ranted enough about that on many of these shows, so we all know where we're at regarding the hypersexualization of bits of plastic. Who cares? Seriously. Now, if you are interested in Wrath of Kings, I highly don't recommend watching the Cool Mini videos, because they had pretty much prematurely turned me off to this game. And like I said earlier in the show, I bought in with the intent of painting some of this up and then flipping it. But the more I've looked at it, I was like, the game itself is not bad. And while if this were on a shelf in my pocket deciding whether or not to get it, I would probably pass. But with the Kickstarter being what it was and the value I was looking at for the miniatures, I figured, it's a little investment. I put some money in, paint some stuff, and then flip it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that actually takes. One of the fears with these higher model count games and Kickstarter is that models that I just think a lot of guys are going to look at that and go, well, I'll put it together someday, and then they never put it together. And if they never put theirs together, then their friends never really get interested in playing, and their friends that don't have a reason to buy my fully painted and assembled sets that I would be putting on eBay or whatever. And that would suck. So hopefully somebody puts their shit together and their friend has money and he's like, hey, look, that guy already did it for me, and I can't wait to play Fat Chicks with Pasties. Because that's not the first time that sentence has been uttered by somebody. Somebody out there already said, hey, I want to play Fat. It's a fact. It's a fact. Somebody has already said that. And why didn't this get the off-white highlight that the other ones got? Let's do that real quick. You got to be able to tell that she's wearing pasties. I was reading the fluff on these last night because I was like, do they even have an explanation of why this model just seems so? And it was a pretty cool explanation, actually. According to the fluff, that these blood masks are a thing in Nasir society, but they don't tend to bond well with female wearers. Oh no, sexism, right? But when they do find a suitable female host, the interaction isn't always flawless, and so the female body responds to the mask in such a way that it makes their flesh hard. And so part of it is, this taunting tactic to where they don't really need armor because their skin is so hard. And then also it's the nudity is distracting to opponents. Whether or not you would be excited by a large woman with pasties, you might be shocked by it, and that's enough to achieve the desired effect. I think if I had some fat chick wearing pasties swinging a sword at me, I would also be shocked and probably running. Actually, if it was a fat chick with pasties chasing me, I would absolutely be running. Sword or no sword, I would probably just run, especially with the mask. The mask makes them kind of creepy. Kind of reminds me of that stupid movie, The Purge. Except it's all big girls and not like rich young adults like The Purge is. That pissed me off. I'm going to rant about that. Really? The Purge. So crime becomes legal for, one night or whatever, and they get rid of the bad people. I don't think if people that are like the, rich, preppy high school aren't naturally good at being able to just murder people with masks on. You know how hard it is to do anything with a mask on? And then if you're a rich kid, you spend all year basically buying drugs with mom and dad's money, or being an overall privileged asshole. I don't think you're going to be very good at killing people. I think if you make crime legal for a day, the people who are going to be really kick ass at crime are the people that are normally committing crime or are surrounded by crime. I don't know. Maybe that's just my messed up theory, but that's what I believe. And that was the issue I had with The Purge. I'd be like, man, the poor people would be freaking awesome during The Purge, and most of the crime would be, say, looting, or there'd probably be a bunch of sexual assault if it's legal. That's horrifying. It's a horrifying thing to think about. But yeah, all crime is legal, there'd be some really nasty shit going on during The Purge. It wouldn't be, I'm gonna, we're all gonna put on masks and chase our other suburbanite family friends around. I think so, man. I just think it's bullshit. Like, it's such a good premise. You could have done something freaking cool and profound if you had a little bit more perspective other than, wow, what if the rich kids were all like psycho killers? That's so much bullshit. But whatever. The Purge. Jeepus. That's the movie. I believe that I believe in remakes, that you can remake movies, but I think you should only remake movies and maybe songs that are shitty. You shouldn't be allowed by law to remake something good, because you're probably going to fuck it up. But you should be allowed to remake garbage. Like take a shitty movie like, say, Godzilla 2000, or, in my opinion, Independence Day. Wow, what a shit fest that movie was. You do that movie and make it good. I'm all about that. The Purge, hell yeah. The Purge is way up there for movies I would want to redo just to make them right. There'd be some, if you did The Purge, then there'd be some Asian YouTuber guy that just decided, hey, it's legal for me to go to the White House and swear myself in as president of the United States. Or just do some stupid shit like that. But yeah, it would be mostly looting and some sexual crime, honestly. Killing would just be a consequence, a side effect of the main crimes that would be going on. People would be robbing each other blind and groping each other. I'm just saying. Is what I'm saying offensive? Probably, but I think it's more apt. I don't buy this shit where it's like, oh, I'm gonna put on a mask and so is Starla, and we're gonna forget all about our biochemistry homework. I'm gonna run around with axes, and we're gonna be good at fighting people with axes because we're criminals tonight. It's really stupid. Just don't buy it. I don't buy it, man. I'm going to pull a race card here for a second and say, hey, brown people need to be factored into shit like this. When shit like this happens especially in the United States, factor in that there are a lot of brown people running around America these days, and they're not going to think like you. And if these situations apply, get out of the regular suburbanite self and think about what would inner city people do. Because there'd be so many of those. Like, I think gangbangers and stuff would probably be like full-blown, peacekeepers while they're robbing. Because they would be down to get theirs. They would probably, I would see them like organizing. Okay, we're going to be, so we're going to do this and this and this. And we're going to do stuff that we just normally don't have access to, and ensure that we can continue crime the other 364 days. Either increase inventory or something smart like that. I don't know. Tonight is just all about talking out my ass. Just gonna happen. I don't care. Paint a bunch of fat chicks with thongs with swords, and it's badass, and it's this game. That's Wrath of Kings. One other note about Wrath of Kings too, I should point out. I was worried that the plastic was going to be that shitty Restic stuff, that privateer stuff, and they even use it for Relic Knights. No, they went with a harder plastic, which is cool. Holds detail a little bit better. You can use plastic cement on these. I don't recommend it. I used it for some of the fiddly bits, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute here. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that. There we go. Look at that. I probably should do a little highlight on these masks, but I don't know. I think it's okay. These are rank and file. Let it go. It'll be all right. Okay, there we go. I'll let these dry. Oop. I'll let up comments one last time. Let's see what we got. That's it. That's it for comments. Nothing on the Q&A. So once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Bit of a ramble tonight, kind of cool. Let me know what you think about the whole going pro thing, and where do you stand? Are you trying to go pro? Are you not trying to go pro? And if you're not, or if you are, why? Just want to hear back from you. So anyway, that's it for this show. Want to thank you guys for watching. We're going to hopefully be back Wednesday next week, as long as the kid can go to bed. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.